With the streaming wars more prominent than ever, it's time to talk about our favorite shows from each streaming service. What's going on, guys? I'm Chris, and welcome back to another video. So today we're talking about our favorite original shows from every streaming service. This is my lovely lady friend Cam. How you doing?
Good.
And we're going through the following streaming services: Disney Plus, Netflix, Hulu, Max, Apple TV Plus, and Prime Video. Now, before we get into this, hit that like button and comment down below your favorite show from every streaming service, original shows that is. Subscribe to that notification bell to help reach my goal of 150,000 subscribers here on the channel. Go check out Cam's channel, subscribe to her. She's got tons of content over there talking about a lot of these shows that might be discussed today. And if you want to watch movies and shows with us, you can actually do so on my Patreon as well as Cam's Patreon. We both have commentary tracks, so go check those out. You pull up the show or movie, sync up, and watch along. It's a fun time. All right, so the first streaming service we're doing is Disney Plus, which has no controversy around it whatsoever. And it's hard to pick just one because Disney Plus has the MCU shows, the Star Wars shows, some other standalone shows. But what is your favorite Disney Plus original show?
Well, you see, if anybody knows anything about me, if anybody's ever visited any of my social media platforms, I think it's fair to say that the answer is Percy Jackson.
No.
And the Olympians.
No way.
You can even see their Funko Pops actually back here. Percy Jackson easily. I think it's the best one, and it's my favorite. I have some honorary ones I'd like to shout out, though.
Please do.
One I want to shout out is actually High School Musical, the series. That's a really fun show. It's nowhere near my favorite, but it's fun. It's a fun time. You haven't seen it?
No, I have not.
I
You're
watched
representing one of the stars of the show.
So true! I didn't even think about that.
I think it's weird that she got her start there. Like, I just forget.
Yeah.
She did, right? That's like her big breakthrough.
Yeah, pretty much.
HSM, TMS, TMS?
Yeah,
HSM,
she was a Disney.
TM.
She was a
Probably
Disney
said that wrong.
child.
School
Her
Musical,
and
musical.
Sabrina Carpenter were kids.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
HSM, TMTS?
Yes.
There we go.
That's a fun show. And then my favorite of the Marvel shows is The Falcon and Winter Soldier. So those are sort of my three I wanted to shout out.
For me, my favorite Disney Plus show right now is going to be Andor. Some of the best Star Wars content I've ever laid eyes on, and it's
haven't
so
seen it.
brilliantly, you gotta watch it. I
love
don't know if you would
wrestling.
like it, though. I don't know.
I'll watch it eventually.
Yeah, you will. Andor's really well done because you've got, like, different arcs within the show. Kind of like Clone Wars,
I was gonna
except
say,
it's
that sounds
all...
like something Star Wars likes to do.
Yes, except it's all following Cassian, so it's not like, oh, we're on this
Good,
random
good,
planet
good,
with
good,
a bunch
good,
of
good.
droids and creatures, and then the next one's with Obi-Wan, you know?
Good.
So it's more contained, which I appreciate. The payoff at the every 3 or 4 episodes, like, it hits, and it's just a relevant Star Wars show that I dug. It showed, like, that street level side of Star Wars that's not explored enough. So that's my favorite, but The Mandalorian is right there because if season 3 didn't exist, that would probably be my answer.
So what I'm hearing is Disney Plus really shines when they let their series develop and get a second season.
That is correct.
When it's just a one-off season,
Yeah, the thing about Andor is it's designed to be a 2-season show.
just two.
Just 2.
Aw.
Yeah. Hopefully it goes out with a bang. And then, of course, my favorite of the MCU shows is Loki. I thought season 2 was wonderfully done, and I still think
Again,
about
2
the final
seasons.
few moments. Yeah, 2 seasons on Disney Plus might just be the formula. All right, so moving on to the next streaming service. This is probably the father of streaming services. Not probably, it is.
It's the first one.
It's the first one. It's Netflix. It's the one that started it all, the one that every other streaming service seemingly still tries to chase the success of and falls short of. Netflix is the granddaddy of them all, and on the count of 3, let's just say our favorite. 3, 2, 1, Stranger Things. Is that really a surprise to anyone watching this video? I don't think so.
Not on your channel.
Yeah,
no.
not at all. Stranger Things is not only my favorite Netflix original show, but it is my favorite show of all time. And I said this recently on the Star Court Food Court podcast. Shout out them, go check it out. The reason I love Stranger Things so much is simple. It reminds me of my childhood, and the feeling I get when I watch Stranger Things is unmatched. It's like if you bottle up nostalgia and put it in like a pill, and you took that every day, like that's how I feel when I watch an episode of Stranger Things. It makes you feel like a kid again. It's got that carefree sense of adventure, but it also has some of the most lovable characters I've ever seen. It's quotable. It's got the 80s nostalgia.
It's got
and
stakes.
it's a unique standalone world. It's not based on any source material. Like it's not like it's pulling from a comic or pulling from a book. It's just its own thing.
It's inspired by a lot of
yeah,
stuff.
it's inspired
that makes
by
the
it.
80s iconic, but that's what makes it such a good show. And
Like the 80s, some of
Yeah.
the most iconic movies that I grew up watching, we
Yeah.
all did. Back to the Future, Indiana Jones, the list goes on and on. Jaws, E.T., Jaws was 70s, but still. There's inspiration from all those iconic projects in Stranger Things, and there's so much love and care put into it.
I think Stranger Things is a really good example of like when you let original concepts grow and when companies allow Like, when they put trust into these original concepts and let them develop over multiple seasons, like, the fandom can really grow and become like a whole franchise in a way. And so just with more original ideas are for the better.
100% agree.
And fund them to more than just one season and stop canceling things. I'd also like to shout out Bridgerton, which is topical because Bridgerton season 3 is going on right now.
Yes, it is.
Big Bridgerton girly.
And you have lots of Bridgerton content on your channel, which is linked down below.
Love Bridgerton. You
Yes.
also are a Bridgerton girly. You just won't admit it.
I liked seasons 1, 2, and Queen Charlotte, so I guess I am, but I don't really...
You haven't seen season 3 yet.
I'm waiting because I think it's stupid that they split it up into parts.
The split? Don't piss me off, Netflix. Like, we just complimented it on being the granddaddy of streaming services. Stop splitting your seasons into 2 or 3. Stop it. You don't need it. Stop it.
I agree wholeheartedly. Moving on, we've got Hulu, which is now merged with Disney Plus. Like, pretty much, it's still Hulu, but everything is becoming one big service like cable, and it's basically resorting back to the olden days, but that was inevitable. For Hulu, I think we might have the same answer. Let's do it on 3. 3, 2, 1, The Bear. That is the definitive like Hulu original show in my opinion. And at first I thought it was like on FX. I guess it partners with FX, which is like a cable network. And so it airs there, but it also goes to Hulu, and all the episodes drop at once on Hulu.
It's like a certain show for HBO Max that's we're about to talk about when we get there.
The Bear is just fantastic. I watched it season 1 when it came out in 2022. Season 2 was 2023. We're getting season 4 this year in 2024.
I was going to say, The Bear is actually one of the only shows right now, the only show really, that is actually pumping out seasons at a good and normal pace.
Yeah. It's like network TV.
What we should be seeing.
Every year. I mean, they film it like that. They edit it, get it up. I mean, it's crazy. And it's high quality still.
The Bear doesn't have a lot of CGI compared to other shows. Like, for example, Stranger Things, for example, Percy Jackson, 2 shows that require a lot of post-production and CGI work to what they're doing. However, hey, I don't care.
I mean, I agree. Like, The Bear is just pumping out seasons, high quality. It's now an Emmy winner. Everyone's going to be tuning in
they haven't
for
even gotten their
season
Emmys
3.
for season 2.
Yeah.
That's how fast they're pumping out the show.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be an awards darling at the Emmys for quite some time, and rightfully so. Curious to see who they get to guest star in season 3 because it's quickly becoming one of the most popular shows on television.
I have 2 Hulu shows that I want to shout out besides The Bear, though. One is Pam and Tommy, starring
I forgot about that
Sebastian
one. Yeah,
I thought that was a really great show. I thought it was very interesting. And then another one that I want to shout out that you haven't seen, I've seen quite a couple times, is The Act. It's about Gypsy Rose Blanchard.
Yep.
And whether or not the show is accurate to what actually happened, because they state at the beginning of every episode, like, stuff is embellished for the fictional aspect of the show. Very interesting show. Very fascinating. So Hulu has some really good, like, interesting shows for sure.
I've seen that girl on TikTok in real life.
Yeah, she got released.
Wild.
Gypsy Rose Blanchard.
Wild story. The next streaming service we've got is Max, formerly HBO Max, which I think is a much better name.
Is it HBO Max or just Max?
I think it's just straight Max.
I can't get used to it. Max, that really rolls off the tongue, doesn't it?
My favorite show that's a Max original was at one point also on HBO Max and HBO, but I really don't care. Like, it all kind of blends together. That's going to be Barry with Bill Hader. The show started in like 2018, I want to say. So it was on, the HBO channel, but by the end of it, it was also just going on HBO Max. So it kind of just all blends together.
I've seen one episode of that show, and it was the weirdest episode.
It was probably the worst episode
you
out
could
of
have ever watched in front of me.
every season for you to watch.
They were in the desert, question mark?
It was in the final season, and it was like this very strange episode after like a time jump. It was very bizarre for you to be present for that one.
I was on my phone the whole time anyways.
But the show is just a display of how Bill Hader's not only a comedic genius, but he can really play a dramatic role. His directing chops get to shine here as well. And Barry is just dark comedy done right. I love it. Everything about it. It is one of those underrated shows not enough people talk about. And anytime I get the chance to recommend an underrated show, Barry's one of my go-tos.
Very nice. I'm going to say my favorite Max show is House of the Dragon. I don't consider Game of Thrones an HBO Max or like original because all of it pretty much came out on cable.
Yeah, I agree.
Except for season 8, question mark?
Even then, it was like still, they had like this thing called HBO Go or HBO Now, which was like
I remember
their
that.
app for, you could just buy HBO through that. Yeah, so Max is essentially that.
So I don't
but not
count
really.
Game of Thrones, even though I do love Game of Thrones. House of the Dragon would be my favorite Max show, followed up directly by The Last of Us.
Ooh. I stand by Barry, but I did forget The Last of Us is technically Max. It's because it's so weird because it's on HBO, but it's also on Max, it's just strange the way they do it. Like,
Yeah.
if you have the HBO channel, which I feel like not a lot of people do anymore, you watch it there, but it's also dropping on a streaming service at the same time.
If it goes if it goes to a streaming service at the same time as it goes on cable, I consider it a streaming service show.
Fair enough. The Last of Us rules. I also want to mention Peacemaker, which I'm curious to see how they handle season 2 with a new DC universe. Will they acknowledge the fact that it's a new universe or not? It's going to be strange, but for me, Barry is my favorite. You say The Last of Us and House of the Dragon.
Yeah, House of the Dragon.
For Apple TV Plus, I think we have the same one again.
Absolutely.
There we go. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Ted Lasso, baby.
Easily. Ted Lasso is one of my favorite TV shows of all time.
And I showed it to you.
You did.
I'm proud of that. It is a very much comfort show. Like, it is
Very
the
comfort
ultimate
show.
feel-good show.
I love Ted Lasso.
It's got this ability with every episode to just warm your heart to the max.
Tears.
And it'll bring you to tears. It'll make you laugh. It'll make you feel happy, genuinely. And every episode is like just a dopamine.
Fantastic character development of all their characters.
Oh, yeah.
Also, just a great show. I've only ever seen one other Apple TV show, and I'll shout it out. It's probably nowhere near my favorite, but I'll shout it out. It's called Servant.
I've seen a
You've
season
seen-
and a half of it, I think.
Yeah, it's an M. Night Shyamalan show, if you will. And season 1 is actually not bad. The concept of it, really fascinating. If you look it up and it sounds interesting to you, watch season 1 and then call it a day. You don't need to watch all 4 seasons.
Yeah, I'll probably never finish it, to be honest with you.
I watched it with commentary tracks, actually, of this YouTube channel that I really like, that I'm a patron of for their commentary tracks. And I mentioned that because we mentioned our Patreons.
Yes.
Watching shows, especially bad shows, with people makes it 10 times funnier. So that's why I watched Servant in the first place. But that's the only other Apple TV show I've watched, so I wanted to shout that one out.
I don't think I've seen any others, to be honest with you, even though I've heard great things about shows like Silo, Foundation. The list goes on and on. Apparently they have some of the best shows out there. I've just only seen Ted Lasso. The final streaming service we're talking about here, Prime Video. My favorite show is maybe not your favorite show. Mine's The Boys.
Yeah,
Is that your favorite?
I think that's the only one I've seen.
What about The Summer I Turned Pretty?
Oh, I have seen that one. I have
I'm
that written down,
messing with
actually. Yeah, so my favorite's also The Boys.
Okay, yeah, fair. Then we both have The Boys. I haven't watched Gen V, which I do plan to get around to very soon because the 4th season of The Boys is dropping, and I gotta watch that for context. Apparently, it's important to this new plot in this 4th season.
I like The Boys. It is my favorite Amazon Prime original show. However, I'm like kind of ready for it to be over.
That's fair. I don't want it to overextend its stay, which it's running the risk of doing right now.
It
But-
ran the risk of that in season 3 for me.
Yeah, and
unfortunately.
it's like, how long can we keep playing this out? Where they devise a plan to kill Homelander, they don't do it, he gains more power and notability.
I either need them to kill Homelander or Homelander needs to kill some of them.
Yeah,
That's what they
someone's
need to
got to
do.
die.
They've got to kill some main characters. Like either
I know they took Noir, but that's not enough.
they could kill Huey.
Yeah.
I don't want them to kill Starlight selfishly, but some of the people on the boys team.
What
need
about
to die.
Frenchie? Like, yeah, someone
could
like
kill
Frenchie or even Kamiko. Like, anybody, someone's got to go to prison, Ben. I always say that from National Treasure. It's like, someone's got to pay the price, right? So we'll see what happens. I do worry about this 4th season, but they're introducing Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Maybe they're bringing him in to take the spot of someone like
Love
Butcher.
you, Denny Duquette.
I could see that happening.
As for Amazon Prime, like you mentioned, I would like to shout out The Summer I Turned Pretty. Not the best show, if you ask me. I watched it just because the internet wouldn't stop talking about it. It's entertaining enough.
But yeah, that does it for our favorite original show from every streaming service.
Question. Besides Stranger Things, so X-Nay Stranger Things,
Yeah.
looking at your list, what is your favorite show
On
that
this list?
Yeah.
Honestly, it's probably The Bear.
Good answer.
Yeah. What about you?
Hard to say. Selfishly, I want to say Percy Jackson. In terms of shows that are like completed, probably Ted Lasso.
But that is it for this video. Let us know in the comments down below your favorite original show from every streaming service, and of course hit that like button. Go subscribe to Cam's channel. She's got tons of content talking about lots of these shows, and if you want to watch shows like this with us, you can do so on my Patreon link down below. Cam also has a Patreon. You guys sync up with us and watch the episodes. We have a fun time doing that. But that'll do it. This was a bit of a different video. Let me know if you want to see more like this down below, maybe with movies or something like that for streaming services. But thank you guys, as always, for watching. And until next time, see you guys later.